How long would Orochimaru's prison sentence be? In the world of Naruto, few villains have a dark and a sus of a track record as Orochimaru. Once a proud Leaf Village ninja, his fall from grace is a wild ride, filled with crimes that range from gross human experiments to being a low-key but kinda high-key PDF file. This video is not for the faint of heart, so we'll start with some softballs and work our way up to some of the truly gnarly stuff that would make a Diddy party look like your high school PTA meeting. Let's start with Orochimaru's first canonical crime: identity theft, medical malpractice, accessory to manslaughter. During the last rampage of the Eight Tails in the village hidden in the clouds, Blue Bee completely lost control of the beast, and things went south fast. It ended up killing 8 Cloud Ninja. The third Raikage had to step in and seal the Eight Tails into the Kohaku no Johei, but sadly, Blue Bee died in the process. In the anime, Orochimaru was the one who kicked off this whole disaster. Disguised as Blue Bee's doctor, he gave him pills that triggered genjutsu to paralyze him, and then used the 5 elements unseal to force the tailed beast out. After the chaos, Orochimaru even snagged a piece of the Eight Tails' severed horn and harvested Blue Bee's DNA from it. Needless to say, there are already a few out-of-pocket actions we need to talk about here. Pretending to be a doctor? That's already bad enough. But drugging Blue Bee and tampering with his seal was straight up out of the Bill Cosby playbook. Even though Orochimaru didn't directly kill those Cloud Ninja, his manipulation set off the chain of events that led to their deaths. These crimes see Orochimaru getting hit with identity theft, which has a prison sentence of 5 years and a fine of $10,000, along with medical malpractice that hands him 5 years and a $400,000 fine. And finally, accessory to manslaughter, which gets him another 10 years and a $25,000 fine. This is only the first part, and we're already at 20 years in prison and $435,000 in fines. You ain't seen nothing yet. Kidnapping, unauthorized experiments on humans, and homicide. Because sometime later, when Hiruzen finally picked Minato over him to be his successor and the next Hokage of the Leaf Village,
I believe in you. I know you can do it.
Orochimaru decided there was no point in sticking around Konoha anymore. To be honest, I don't know how in the hell this creepy-looking snake man would ever be considered a good fit for the job. But hey, what the hell do I know, right? Anyway, he started being way less sneaky about his shady activities and dove headfirst into experimenting on humans to push his twisted research forward. Orochimaru became obsessed with unlocking the secrets of immortality and creating forbidden jutsu. To do this, he kidnapped Konoha villagers and shinobi, using them as test subjects in his experiments, most of which ended in death. One of his most infamous experiments involved kidnapping 60 children and implanting them with Hashirama Senju's DNA in a twisted attempt to recreate the first Hokage's wood-release ability. With Danzo Shimura's help, he carried out this horrifying plan. In the end, all the kids supposedly died, except Yamato, who survived without Orochimaru even knowing. Kidnapping alone is a huge deal, but abducting people for illegal experiments takes it to a whole new demented level. He treated his victims like how you treat civilians in GTA 5, when you're bored and just stole a car. Not very good. We're slapping him with a few charges on this one. 20 years and a fine of $50,000 for every kidnapped child, equaling 1,200 years, and $3 million. 25 years and $250,000 for unauthorized experiments on humans for the same 60 kids, adding up to 1,500 years, plus $15 million, and finally 59 counts of homicide carrying a life sentence and $50,000 each, equaling 5,900 years and $2,950,000 in fines. To keep his twisted experiments under wrap, he straight up killed any Konoha shinobi who got too close to the truth. On top of that, he continued abducting people, sometimes even his own fellow Konoha shinobi, and using them as test subjects for his experiments, all without the Hokage's approval. I'm guessing he wouldn't think it was a very chill idea. The guy was obsessed with immortality and would do anything to achieve it. His big break was the living corpse reincarnation technique, a forbidden jutsu that let him transfer his mind into a new body whenever his current one started falling apart. By repeating the process, he could theoretically live forever, as long as he kept finding new hosts. But Orochimaru didn't stop there. Once he took over a body, he modified it to match his whole snake theme. He snatches someone's body and then gives it his own little flair, you know? This included giving himself wild abilities like stretching and bending his body in impossible ways, reattaching severed parts, and even shedding his skin to heal injuries. These tricks made his body ridiculously durable, letting him survive and regenerate even if he couldn't transfer to a new host in time. Basically, Orochimaru turned himself into a near-immortal snake fetish nightmare. So now for the crimes, first there's kidnapping, abducting villagers, and shinobi for his experiments. Then there's assassination. He killed anyone who threatened to expose his activities. But the biggest charge? His immortality techniques, like living corpse reincarnation, where not only forbidden, but also a complete violation of the natural order. Twisting human bodies into monstrous forms for his own survival. Ooh. Let's take a look. The murder on multiple counts. Oh god. Prison sentence, 100 years. Fines would be $1,500,000. Now we move on to kidnapping on multiple counts. The prison sentence would be 60 years, and the fines would be $150,000. Moving on to torture and desecration of a corpse, the prison sentence would be 3 counts, and that would be 75 years. The fines would equal $750,000. And then we've got bioterrorism. The prison sentence is 100 years, and the fine is $100,000. At one point, Orochimaru was hanging around the outskirts of Kirigakura when he stumbled upon Kimimaro, the last survivor of the Kaguya clan.
Or how I discovered you one fateful night.
Orochimaru took him in, and Kimimaro found a new purpose in life, devoting himself to Orochimaru's dreams and ambitions to the point that he was totally cool with the idea of becoming Orochimaru's future host body. Later on, Kimimaro met Jugo, a berserker, whose ability to absorb natural energy and transform made him a perfect test subject for Orochimaru. Desperate to get his rage under control, Jugo willingly let Orochimaru experiment on him. Fascinated by Jugo's powers, Orochimaru followed the trail all the way to Ryuchi Cave, where he learned about Senjutsu. Now, since he couldn't master Sage Mode himself, he got creative and developed his own Temu version, called the Cursed Seals, by blending his Senjutsu chakra with enzymes extracted from Jugo's blood. In the anime, Orochimaru found the Iburi clan, a group living underground near Konoha with the bizarre ability to turn into smoke. Their powers were unstable and sometimes fatal, so Orochimaru swooped in and offered to help by partially stabilizing their transformations with Cursed Seals, on the condition that they provide him with the test subjects for his research. If that wasn't enough, Orochimaru also partnered with Amachi to work on creating shinobi who could fight underwater. This involved kidnapping villagers from the land of the sea for experiments, and Orochimaru even dragged Anko into the project for a while. Eventually, though, he got bored, told Amachi to shut the whole thing down, and wiped Anko's memories when she refused to embrace her cursed seal. Just straight pressed the hard reset button on her. This mad scientist rampage gets him, starting with illegal experimentation, with a prison sentence of 20 years and $200,000 in fines. Moving on to exploitation, with a prison sentence of 10 years and $25,000 in fines. Kidnapping on multiple counts would be 3 counts equaling 60 years of a prison sentence and $150,000 in fines. Multiple counts of unauthorized experiments on humans would lead to a prison sentence of 75 years and $750,000 in fines. Coercion would be a prison sentence of 10 years and $50,000 in fines. Endangerment and negligence would be a prison sentence of 5 years, and the fines would be $25,000. At some point, I keep saying at some point, because we have no frickin' clue when exactly a lot of this stuff happened. But anyway, at some point, Orochimaru got sent on a mission by Danzo to Iwagakure to deal with Kabuto and Nono. Both had been working as spies for the Root, but they were seen as loose ends that needed tying up. Danzo's orders were to make sure they killed each other, and if one survived, Orochimaru would finish the job.
You've become quite a fine shinobi.
But Orochimaru had his own plans. Instead of following orders, he brought Kabuto back to his hideout, which later became a part of Oto Gakura, and spilled the tea about the Roots plot to take him out. Orochimaru even admitted he was supposed to kill whoever survived. However, he said he saw a bit of himself in Kabuto and thought it'd be a waste to kill someone with such talent. Aw, what a nice guy.
Because I recognize and value your talent more than anyone else, it would be a waste to kill you.
Instead, he offered Kabuto a deal: work as the right-hand man and spy in exchange for a new identity. Kabuto took the offer and ended up helping Orochimaru with his twisted experiments and studies of the unique abilities of Orochimaru's Oto-nin. In the anime, Kabuto even helped him collect genetic samples for the impure world reincarnation technique. Orochimaru's crimes in this situation were classic creepy pedo snake man, manipulative, self-serving, and completely unethical. By sparing Kabuto, he may have avoided outright murder, but turning him into an accomplice for his experiments and twisted ambitions makes him guilty of multiple crimes, and some time, including conspiracy with a prison sentence of 5 years and fine of $25,000. Unethical human experimentation would lead to a prison sentence of 25 years and $250,000 in fines. Moving on to bioterrorism, a prison sentence of 25 years and fines of $100,000. When Orochimaru's experiments started going sideways and his test subjects began dying, he got caught red-handed by Hiruzen. But even though Hiruzen knew he had to stop him, he just couldn't bring himself to kill his former student. So Orochimaru managed to escape. Yeah, sure, show the guy you just discovered in a basement dissecting humans some sympathy. I mean, he's just misunderstood. Seriously injured and desperate, Orochimaru made his way to the cave where the Iburi clan lived. Instead of asking for help, he wiped them all out in an attempt to restore his strength. Things got more complicated when Yukimi, the youngest member of the clan, showed up. Orochimaru decided to go after her, but Kakashi and Yamato were hot on his trail. Eventually, Orochimaru managed to take some of Yukimi's blood, hoping to inject himself with it to temporarily gain her smoke transformation ability so he could sneak across the border. Before he could use it, though, Kakashi and Kinoe caught up to him, and he was forced to retreat. Orochimaru's actions here were straight up brutal. From the mass killing of the Iburi clan to his relentless pursuit of Yukimi for her powers, he showed zero regard for human life.
These are the results of my tests on the Iburi clan's bodily transformation ability.
His escape only ensured that he'd keep adding to his long list of crimes that included evasion of justice with a prison sentence of 5 years, fines of $25,000. Moving on to mass deletion, the prison sentence, at least 10 life sentences equaling 1,000 years, and the fine is $2,500,000. Moving on to kidnapping with a prison sentence of 20 years and $50,000 in fines, and finally assault with a prison sentence of 10 years and fines of $25,000. Orochimaru eventually joins, then defects from the Akatsuki, which didn't exactly leave him with friends in high places. Sasori, in particular, held a serious grudge and decided to get back at him by turning Kabuto into a sleeper agent. Kabuto was supposed to spy on Orochimaru, but Orochimaru wasn't having it. He figured out what Sasori had done and broke the technique that had been placed on Kabuto, effectively flipping the situation in his favor. In the anime, when Kabuto tipped Orochimaru off that Sasori was coming for him, Orochimaru decided to turn the whole thing into a little experiment, like the snake of science he is. He wanted to test out his version of the summoning, impure world reincarnation technique, to really drive the point home. Orochimaru summoned the actual third, Kazekage, to go head-to-head with Sasori's puppet version of the same guy. At first, Orochimaru's reincarnated Kazekage seemed like the stronger one, but there was a problem. The technique wasn't perfect. The third Kazekage managed to regain control of himself and break free from Orochimaru's summoning contract. Orochimaru's crimes here were all about breaking ethical boundaries for his experiments, reanimating the dead and forcing them to fight. I'm not a lawyer, but that definitely doesn't sound very legal. As well as endangering others by recklessly creating a situation where the third Kazekage could escape and potentially wreak havoc.
I used a forbidden jutsu to resurrect him. your human puppet against my forbidden jutsu.
These crimes see him getting slapped with desecration of a corpse with a prison sentence of 10 years, fines worth $25,000, and endangering lives with a prison sentence of 10 years and fines of $50,000. After ditching the Akatsuki when he failed to take Itachi Uchiha's body, Orochimaru went full Dr. Doofenshmirtz and started setting up a network of hideouts. This eventually led to the creation of Otogakura, aka the village hidden by sound. On the surface, Orochimaru claimed the village was a place where skilled ninja could find purpose without being tied down by the shady politics of the 5 great shinobi countries. But let's be real, this village was never about helping anyone. In reality, Otogakura wasn't even a proper village. It was basically a giant network of labs scattered across the land of sound and beyond. Orochimaru set it up as a front to collect test subjects for his experiments and fuel his obsession with mastering all techniques. The shinobi of Otogakura weren't your average ninjas either. Most of them had undergone freaky modifications thanks to Orochimaru's human experiments. During his travels, Orochimaru built hideouts all over the world, from secret underground labs with barely noticeable entrances to elaborate bases hidden on islands. Every one of these spots was equipped with a lab where Orochimaru and later Kabuto conducted their twisted experiments. Orochimaru's creation of Otogakura was a prime example of how he manipulated others for his own gain, also gaining him sentences of fraud with a prison sentence of 10 years and fines of $50,000. Illegal expansion is next with a prison sentence of 5 years, followed by fines of $25,000. And also unethical human experimentation with multiple counts, with a prison sentence of 75 years and fines of $750,000. In the anime, Orochimaru witnessed Mizuki straight up murder his injured comrade during a mission just to eliminate any hindrance to the mission's success. Instead of being horrified, Orochimaru pretended to reward Mizuki for his bold move by giving him a curse seal in the form of a special tattoo, which was basically a recipe for a potion that could turn him into a copyright-safe version of Tony the Tiger.
You were merely carrying out your mission.
That's right.
The idea was that by forcing his chakra, Mizuki could evolve into something even more insane. A tiger-like form that had even more power, but lost some of the speed. Mizuki probably thought he was getting a major power-up, but in reality, Orochimaru was just using him as a lab rat. The seal wasn't some grand gift. It was a half-baked experiment that wasn't even finished. Orochimaru was curious about how it would mess with Mizuki, knowing full well it would probably destroy him. After his defeat from Naruto, Mizuki's body broke down, leaving him as a frail old man. Tsunade managed to save his life, stopping his body from deteriorating further and even restoring him to how he looked before he was imprisoned. However, the damage was done. Mizuki lost the ability to perform ninjutsu entirely. In classic Orochimaru fashion, it wasn't about helping anyone, but feeding his own twisted curiosity. Orochimaru's actions here were straight up cold-blooded. Instead of punishing Mizuki for killing a comrade, he exploited the situation for his own experiments, earning him a spanking from the cold hands of justice, with charges that include, starting with accessory to murder, a prison sentence of 3 years and fines of $5,000, followed by reckless endangerment, a prison sentence of 5 years, and fines of $10,000. After his defection from Konoha, Orochimaru didn't bother messing with his old village. At least not until the perfect chance to destroy it came along. That opportunity showed up when he teamed up with the 4th Kazekage of Sunagakura, who also had it out for Konoha. Together they planned to invade the village during the Chunin exams. But for Orochimaru, the invasion wasn't just about destruction. Remember, he's a borderline PDF file. I couldn't say it any more subtly. It was also a chance to test Sasuke Uchiha, Itachi's younger brother, to see if he could be a worthy vessel for Orochimaru's next body transfer. Before the second part of the Chunin exams kicked off, Orochimaru killed a team of Kasugakura genin so he could impersonate their leader, Shiore, and sneak into the Forest of Death. During the test, Sasuke hit Orochimaru with his Dragon Fire technique, burning off part of his disguise. Instead of being angry, Orochimaru was impressed by Sasuke's skills. He left his mark on Sasuke, literally, by giving him the cursed seal of heaven before heading out.
I just gave him a little parting gift. Very soon, Sasuke will seek me out.
Between the murders, impersonation, and reckless experimentation, Orochimaru also endangered multiple lives by orchestrating chaos during the Chunin exams, earning him the following: conspiracy to commit war crimes, with a prison sentence of 20 years and fines of $20,000. Multiple counts of life deletion, with 300 years worth of life sentences, and fines of $1,500,000. And endangering lives, with prison sentences of 10 years and fines up to $50,000. Not long before the final round of the Chunin exams, Orochimaru went full savage. He killed the fourth Kazekage, stole his identity, and sat next to Hiruzen during the exams, pretending to be the Kazekage while secretly plotting to destroy Konoha. When the invasion kicked off, Orochimaru made his move to take down his former master. He had the Sound Four drop their disguises as the Kazekage's bodyguards and set up a barrier to block any such help from Konoha shinobi. The Sound Four sounds like a shitty K-pop band, to be honest, but no, they're a group of ninja. Hiruzen, haunted by the mistake of letting Orochimaru escape years earlier, decided to face his former student head-on. Hyped to battle his old teacher, Orochimaru showed just how twisted he'd become by using impure world reincarnation, like some kinda corpse Pokeballs to summon the first two Hokage, Hashirama and Tobirama, and ordering them to attack Hiruzen. During the fight, Orochimaru bragged about perfecting his creepy immortality technique, living corpse reincarnation, and revealed his plan to make Sasuke his next vessel.
A summoning jutsu. It seems that he used the forbidden reanimation technique. How insolent.
Despite being outmatched, Hiruzen made the ultimate sacrifice to stop Orochimaru by using the dead demon-consuming seal to trap the souls of the first two Hokage, and then targeted Orochimaru himself to avoid being trapped in the Reaper's stomach along with the Hokage. Orochimaru stabbed Hiruzen in the back with his sword of Kusanagi. However, Hiruzen managed to seal Orochimaru's arms, robbing him of his ability to use ninjutsu. Furious and defeated, Orochimaru was carried away by the Sound Four, with the invasion falling apart. Tsunagakura later cut ties with Orochimaru after discovering the fourth Kazekage's corpse. Well, where do we start here? His actions during the invasion were a laundry list of crimes, including treason, murder, and grave-robbing level atrocities. For all of this, good old Lady Justice has a list of penalties, including deletion of the fourth Kazekage, a 100-year life sentence, and fines worth $500,000. Next, we've got identity theft, a prison sentence of 5 years, and fines of $10,000. Then we've got treason with a prison sentence of 40 years and fines of $100,000. Then we've got desecration of a corpse at a prison sentence of 5 years and fines worth $25,000. And the attempted deletion of Hiruzen, with a prison sentence of 15 years and fines of $50,000. Later, when Tsunade refused to heal Orochimaru's busted arms, he decided to switch plans and go with a backup, which is to steal a new host body. Orochimaru really wanted to wait until Sasuke was older and stronger, but the unbearable pain in his arms forced him to speed things up. He sent the Sound Four to bring Sasuke to him and held out as long as he could, but Sasuke's arrival was taking too long, so he settled for Genyumaru, a sacrifice Kabuto had prepared for him. Orochimaru struck a deal with Genyumaru, promising to release his clansmen in exchange for his body.
Your strength of spirit was one of the main reasons I chose you, and I'd be foolish to let it go to waste.
Of course, once the deal was made, Orochimaru wasted no time using his creepy living corpse reanimation jutsu to take over Genyumaru's body. With the process done, Orochimaru was stuck in his new host for 3 years. When Sasuke finally showed up, Orochimaru started training him, determined to shape the Uchiha into the perfect vessel, aka grooming. He was absolutely thrilled when Sasuke's chakra flared up in response to Kabuto's little intimidation act. Orochimaru could barely contain his excitement, since this was the host he'd been waiting for. Orochimaru's antics here highlight his total disregard for morality, kidnapping Sasuke, unethical use of forbidden jutsu to steal Genyumaru's body that violates human rights and disrupts the natural cycle of life, manipulating Genyumaru into giving up his life in exchange for the freedom of his clan, and plotting to corrupt and take over Sasuke for his personal gain. this Diddy activity will not go unpunished. He'll have to face charges including coercion with a prison sentence of 10 years and fines up to $20,000, followed by kidnapping with a prison sentence of 20 years and fines up to $50,000, followed by exploitation with a prison sentence of 10 years and fines of $25,000, and deletion through stealing a body with a prison sentence of 100 years and fines of up to $500,000. Nearing the rejection of his host's body, Orochimaru plotted to take Sasuke's body, but was defeated and absorbed instead. He was revived later by Sasuke through Anko's cursed seal and agreed to help Sasuke uncover the truth about Konoha. He led them to where the Shinigami mask was kept and used the mask to release the sealed souls from the Shinigami, including his arms. He then used Impure World Reincarnation to summon the previous 4 Hokage to aid Sasuke. Although initially uninterested in the war, Orochimaru joined the fight against Madara and Obito, assisting the allied shinobi forces with his expertise and helping heal Tsunade and the Kage. He worked alongside his former subordinates before getting trapped in Madara's infinite Tsukuyomi. He and the rest of the world were ultimately freed from the Genjutsu after the war ended. After the war, Orochimaru went back to his genetic experiments, but somehow struck a deal with Konoha and the 5 great nations. In exchange for a pardon for all his crimes, he agreed to be under 24/7 surveillance by Konoha Yonin. The funny thing was that the surveillance was so hands-off that Orochimaru could move freely, even coming and going from Konoha without much hassle. The guards were ordered not to interfere unless he did something sketchy or openly threatened Konoha. So this man brutally took out many ninjas for pretty much no reason, tried killing the Hokage while destroying the entire village, and start his own terrorist village essentially. But they looked at all that and said, well, hey, he helped heal us a bit during the war, so let's just call it even. Like, what the fuck? Am I the only one here that thinks that's actually insane or what? Anyway, it's finally the moment of truth. Let's tally up the nauseatingly long list of no-nos this androgynous man has committed and throw him in the slammer for good. Adding up every single twisting thing this snake man has done, from abducting, experimenting on, and deleting people to attempting to topple entire nations, we're looking at a whopping 8,723 years in prison and $13,390,000 in fines. And we're not gonna deal with this like they did in Konoha by rewarding him with a lab and a cozy life. We're sending our ninja goons to bring him in right now. In the meantime, click this video to learn about even more evildoer anime characters and their insane crimes.